Hello everyone, welcome to the 9th episode in our Creative Accountability Program. And this episode we're going to be focusing on the importance of why and making that the central focus for your creative mission, especially in, as we are now, getting deeper into the creative process when motivation may be lacking and you really need that focus to push through. An understanding of your creative mission and your why is crucial to the long-term success of incorporating creativity into your lifestyle. By knowing the core of why you are creating, you find that you're more susceptible to be open to opportunities for creation, other than thinking of it like a job or getting lost in the project or getting lost, like we've talked about in the videos before, on just the pure output of your creative projects. It's important that, and something you might be noticing now, especially this far in the program, if you've been working alongside as well, is that you might be experiencing that waning energy or that waning motivation to actually complete or persist with your project. So bringing it back to your why is essential and a really important focus to maintaining that long-term energy necessary to complete your project. We cover more about how to identify your creative mission in our core video content. However, the general premise of what we're trying to establish with your why and recalling it at this stage and a later stage in the creative process is it's important that your why amplifies your passion and really stimulates that drive towards what you think is important and what is a central motivator to you and your cause. And knowing this and consistently reminding yourself of your why is a great protector to kind of fend off the way that our regular lifestyle tends to seep into our creative lifestyle and detract from our ability to invest time into it. So understanding your why also keeps your ability to prioritize your creative outputs or your creative engagements with the rest of your lifestyle. So what I mean by that is sitting down to write 200 words may not have the same perceived value as going out with your friends. However, working towards progressing your central theme in whatever way, shape or form that may be, remember we're talking about engaging with your creative project, does have a different perceived value over that same event, which is recreating with your friends. So keeping our creative mission central to our focus and our vision really makes the whole structure of how we address our creative process very focused, and it maintains that perceived value in a level way when we're comparing it against the other things in our lifestyle. I also find that knowing your why is an essential fuel to maintaining that long burn through the type of lulls in the creative project. And remember, we've talked about not just focusing on outputs, focusing on engagement, so reading creatively, speaking creatively, and writing. So knowing your why helps to just push through those times when motivation is lacking, and we go back to the discipline of why we are here, why we are seated in this chair. Perhaps it's an uncomfortable environment, perhaps we've tried, this is our 10th time trying with no output. Why are we here? And keeping that central to our vision. And it's highly unique to everyone. Everyone will have their own specific way of approaching the issue to get their best perceived value out of their outputs. And that's why this process is so important, that you take the time necessary to assess yourself with an honesty that we've talked about in a previous video, but that really lets you understand yourself, your strengths, weaknesses, and skill set. As creatives and as writers, we're engaged in a self-managed game that very much relies on our own understanding of ourselves, our weaknesses, our strengths, and our skill set. And I split these three purposefully to highlight the ways in which that we should also be addressing our strengths, weaknesses, and skill set. And this is my opinion and what's helped me, so something to keep in mind as well. And because it's a self-managed game, it's incredibly important that we know ourselves the best. And by that, I mean that we know our triggers meaning things that take us away from creativity. This could be a perceived value of income or other aspects of our life that we have to focus on over our creativity. But how do we keep our creativity coming back, and recognizing these things that are highly individualistic to ourselves, and how do we respond to our environment? So the way I approach this is knowing my weaknesses first, having an awareness of my skill set, and then focusing on my strengths. And I'll break it down to explain why I go about it in that way. I find that the strengths in the people I talk to, the creatives that I work with, come very naturally to us. As if you're a strong artist, that's natural. You're an innate talent. You have that ability. Same with being a writer, etc. If you have that innate ability, it's fantastic to play in that and refine it and develop it. But while we're doing this, and while we're making something that's already stronger, we're actually neglecting the other areas of our holistic creative career that really should be bolstered to make our talent and our strength even better. And this process of just continually refining our strengths can develop a very narrow mindset or approach to problems, or approach to creative projects and solutions, by only seeing things in the refined lens of our strengths, and limiting ourselves by not exploring our weaknesses and broadening our horizons of perspective to see things in different ways, to contribute different things to projects, and really just be a different team player in the larger collaboration that really is creativity, and that we are engaging here at Hive Mind. Our skill set is a list of practical skills that we can apply to a project, and understanding this is like a quick flashcard of the things that are within your wheelhouse. Is that it's not appropriate to be volunteering yourself for editing if you are not an editor. It's not appropriate to be doing the artwork if you are not an illustrator. However, there's always room, and we encourage people to be looking into ways to overlap and develop their skill set. But in order to develop something, you must first be aware of its existence at the moment, and a true sense of its awareness. There's no sense really saying that you are a master editor if you have trouble identifying the specifics of grammar differentials or punctuation and interpretations behind that. Is that just important to be honest with ourselves of our true skill set, because in that honesty, we highlight our true strengths, and that awareness in itself puts us in a great position to smash creative projects. And while our strengths are tasks that we are good at, that we feel good at repeating over and over again and practicing regularly, our weaknesses are the tasks that we tend to push in the very back of our minds, or we procrastinate with to the very last minute. And this is where I encourage everyone to focus the majority of their development energy into their weaknesses, and having a very firm understanding of those weaknesses. And for instance, I recognize within myself that many years ago I was prone, or still am prone, to becoming overwhelmed. And recognizing these triggers now lets me put the systems in place where I can be level-headed and invest my energy evenly across the things that I have to focus on throughout the day to get the best output possible. But it was through this process of identifying my weakness, and it's a lot easier, like we talked about in a previous video, it's a lot easier to identify your own weakness than have someone else tell you your weakness. So it's a great opportunity to practice this and to participate in this exercise, and really take the time to sit down half an hour, and investigate yourself in your history, and think hard about the things that have been your shortcomings. And you might find that they're the things that you've repeatedly ignored in different areas of your life and different applications or different creative projects as well. But it's important that we reflect in honesty in this process, and that we, I believe, focus our majority of our attention on developing our weaknesses in this holistic creative career that we're engaging in, and then letting our strengths benefit from the additional services or additional strengths really that we're developing out of our weaknesses, rather than just focusing on this incredibly specialized output of our singular or maybe 3 strengths. And the importance of mindset planning is also something that we mentioned very early on. And really at this point in the program, we start to see, or we get to see, the benefits in really taking the time at the start to plan well. And planning well means more than just your creative project. For us, it means planning yourself and making sure that you have the systems in place that you maintain that mindset for success. Meaning that we've talked about recognizing triggers that take you away from that creative momentum, and that base level of understanding really lets you pad your mindset for the long-term journey that's ahead. And it's quite a long-term journey. Just when you think you're finished, there'll be another round of additions, there'll be another wave of something you want to change or add, and you're going to need the long-term mental mindset to get through that and not to rush the process just wanting to get it completed, because you might compromise the way that you communicate your themes or your voice in writing. And we just want to make sure that the authenticity of your project is really maintained. Much like the process of being meditative isn't just isolated to practicing meditation 1 hour a week. It's something that we have to incorporate into our lives all the time. Similarly, when we're engaging in this creative mission, in this creative journey, in this accountability into our lives, we have to be continually thinking about creativity. We have to be continually engaging with it in our subconscious, to read with it, speak with it, and write with it. And this, just engaging in this, keeps our mindset fresh, as opposed to a chore that we revisit at a scheduled time every day or every week. And in this regimented style, generally it becomes every month, every year, and the creativity works itself out of our lifestyle because we haven't practiced the consistent mindset to be creative all the time. And we have our outputs where we just have these bursts of outputs because we've practiced that consistency, we've maintained our mindset, and we're aware of ourselves and our skill set. And this clear understanding of your why and applying it in a holistic way keeps your values grounded in your daily behaviors. Is that every time you interact with someone, you're thinking creatively. Every time you're driving, you have a quiet moment, you're thinking creatively. Every time you're engaging with creativity, you're thinking about the ideas and inspirations you can pull for your projects, or the contributions you can make to make this project stronger, and really engaging in that collaboration environment that is creativity. We've talked about in great detail the importance to be honest with your recorded outputs and the ways that you're engaging with your creativity. I just want to mention it again because it's really important to managing your why and managing the integrity that you've set out with on your creative journey, which is your destination, I guess, in mind, which is your completed project, but also what is fueling you, what is motivating you. You want to make positive change, you want to impact a lot of people, you want to change behaviors or perceptions. All these things are, again, very unique to you, and you need to do the introspection necessary to identify them. But if they go completely unaddressed or unchanged, we imagine a ship setting off from a harbour just set on due west. And their destination isn't necessarily due west, it's roughly due west. They know that from the start. However, the specifics over time need to be changed. The weather, environment, waves rocking off course, strong winds, etc. And without an awareness and without an honesty of recording, we are not giving ourselves the best opportunity to adapt to these and change our course so that we still arrive at our destination. And being aware of our why, being aware of what fuels us and why we set out, keeps us motivated in those very dark times when it feels like we're going nowhere and we're stuck in the ocean just floating around. Remembering your why will also keep you grounded towards your creative lifestyle. Is that if you're serious about incorporating creativity into your lifestyle, we need to be consistent in changing our perception of this. And changing our perception, I go back to our analogy of the fork in the road. It is extremely difficult to walk that sandy path. It is extremely difficult to make the decision that we have otherwise been conditioned against, and to walk it with seriousness and integrity to make it a habit. And that's why we need to make it as easy as possible for us to even make that decision in the first place, to go against the things that we have otherwise done in our past, to I keep referencing it, and you don't always have to not go out with friends, but social events that maybe you could have missed, or you'll figure it out in your life what is perceived as lower value to actually incorporating creativity into your life, and the benefits and the feelings that you get from being creative are, again, very unique to you, and you need to weigh them up against the other areas of your lifestyle related to how willing you are to incorporate this creative practice into your life. A great practical way that I find to keep my why very central to everything that I do is through affirmations. Now, affirmations are just a singular phrase that is repeated to yourself however long you like, really. People recommend you bookend your days with it, once in the morning, once at night, just to keep this, keep your why not as an internalized type of mission, but verbalizing it as well to really engage that feedback loop within ourselves of hearing something, even though it's from ourselves, still affirms that, yes, I am on the right way, I'm on the right path, I'm on a path. On a path in general can sometimes be more direction than the right path. And on the path is towards a creative lifestyle, which is something you want to incorporate into your life. And repeating these affirmations is a great way to keep that why very in the forefront of our mind, is that when we're sitting in an uncomfortable environment, or we're pushing it beyond the hours and hours that are necessary in that chair, and we're just doing that extra hour, that it's these affirmations, it's this repetitive, why am I here? This is my mission. This is why I'm pushing forward, that really keep us going towards success. So affirmations, I find, are fantastic when you write them as if you are already living that dream, you're already living your mission. And that could be you've completed your project, or on a larger sense of your creative mission, you're engaging repetitively with your cause, you're pushing the envelope, you're changing behaviors, you're engaging with the process of changing perception. And what you'll find is this isn't really a light switch moment if you're trying to reduce stigma in any area. It's very much a small hammer and chisel type of activity, and not a bomb or a light switch moment. So that's why, again, we need that endurance of mindset to really be consistent and be successful. I also find that a lot of people think affirmations are silly, and this is why, if you're not into that, that's fine, don't use them. But do a different way that keeps your why at your forefront. And this could be post-it notes, and just writing post-it notes and sticking them on your monitor, sticking them on your bathroom mirror, on your car mirror, wherever is necessary, to just, whenever you flash at it, you're being reminded that this is your mission, this is your drive, this is why you're engaging in creativity. Because you will rarely see that in society, you rarely see that in your life. So you have to create it. You have to create the environment that keeps you motivated on your why, keeps you motivated towards your unique mission, and the whole reason why you engage with creativity. So it's extremely important that we remember our why, we set it with a seriousness and integrity from the very start. And if you didn't do it in week 1, that's okay. We can do it now. Make this your week 1 and start now. The creative process is very much that. It's very much a continuous process. There isn't rarely a beginning and end, and that's how definitive and linear it is. It's cyclical and developing and evolutionary and refreshing. It's very nice and organic to see a project evolve like that in front of you. And with a consistent focus on your why, the evolution will be driven towards realizing your vision.